Hello and welcome back to another video here on Rule the Game. In today's video, I'll show you how to play 5 Towers, a game by Kasper Lapp, published by Print Games, a game for 2 to 5 players, lasts about 15 to 30 minutes, and it's recommended starting at age 7. As usual, I'll first show you how to get points in this game, then I'll show you how to play this game, and in the end, I'll give you some hints for the first game. And if this is your first time on this channel, please subscribe below. But now let's get started with 5 Towers.
Rule the game.
As you've guessed from the name of the game, we will be building up to 5 towers in this game. And the taller you build these towers and the better you finish the towers, the more points you'll get. Now let's assume I've built this during the game. I've built only 3 towers instead of 5, but that could happen. So now what we do is we get points for each tower. If a tower is finished with its roof, and the roof is the 0 card, in that case, you get 2 points per card on this tower. So you get here for 5 cards, 10 points. Same with this one here. It also has a roof. It's 4 cards times 2, which is 8 points. Now this tower here doesn't have a roof. It ends at 2, and you don't see a roof here. You don't see a 0 card. So in this case, each card of this tower is only worth 1 point. So here we got 2, 4, 6, 7 points for this tower. In addition to that, you get also bonus points for your tallest tower. Just one of your towers can be your tallest tower. If 2 are the same size, then you just pick one of them to count your points. And the bonus points there are just 1 point per card of this tower. So in this case, the tower here that isn't finished is actually also our tallest tower. So we'll also get 7 points for this. So we get 10 here, 8 here, and 7 plus 7 for this one. And then you might have also some cards that you destroyed during the game. In that case, for the first card that you destroyed, you get -1 point. For the second, you get -2 points. For the third, you get -3 points. So in this case, since I have 3 cards, I would have to deduct 6 points. -1, -2, -3 equals -6. And that is how you score the game. Now let's have a look how we play the game. In 5 towers, you will be bidding to get cards so that you can build your towers. Let's say this is what the board looks like in the middle of a game with 2 to 3 players. You have here a deck with all the cards shuffled. Some cards have already been discarded from earlier rounds, and this person here has already built some towers. Now please note that in a 4 to 5 player game, you'll also add these cards that have here the 4+ players. These are not in the game right now because we pretend like we play a 2 to 3 player game here. At the beginning of each round, you'll open up the top 5 cards of the deck and you show them to all the players. And now the players, starting from the starting player, have to bid on how many cards they're going to build. Now you can only bid for cards that you can actually build. So I first have to show you what the rules are to build cards. Now all the towers are built from the highest to the lowest number in descending order. At each point during the game, you can add more cards with lower numbers to the top of your tower, or for example, if you don't have a certain color, and only if you don't have a certain color, you can start a tower with a new card. From now on, 14 is your highest card, and you're going to have to lower the number as you go up on this tower. If you cannot add cards by lowering the number, maybe you can do it if you destroy a card. Every time you take a number of cards, you can destroy exactly 1 card. Now, in this case, we could, for example, destroy here the number 5. We could put it aside, and all of a sudden now we have space for the 12 and for the 11. Remember though, in the beginning I said if you destroy cards, you're going to get minus points. This is your first card that we destroyed, so it's just -1. Note that you cannot destroy a 0. When the tower is finished with a 0, it's done. You cannot change it anymore, and you cannot start another tower of the same color. So you could not take away the 0 and add the 6 here. That doesn't work. There are two exceptional cards that allow you to build in different orders. It's the 8 and the 9. The 9 allows you to place it on top of any other card, which is what the question mark here signifies. So you could place a 9 on top of a 5, even though the 9 is higher than the 5. Alternatively, with the 8, when you place an 8 on top of a tower, you can then place whatever you want on top of this 8. That's what the question mark here signifies, that goes up to the top. So here we could place a 12 and an 11 then on top of the 8. So let's say in this round, the player here to the right starts the round. They say, I can use the 14 and the 12. And they say they're gonna bid for 2 cards. Now the next player, which is this player here, needs to increase the bid. Only if they say more than 2 do they have a chance to get a card. So they say they can't take this one because they can't remove the 6 here. They could take these 2 because if they remove the 5, then they can place the 11 and the 12 here. They cannot use this one because they can't place a 12. They already have finished this tower here. But they could also place a 14 over here. So they say 3. They're going to take these 3 if they can. Now let's say the third player here cannot take more than 3 cards. So that's the end of this bidding round. And therefore, this player here who said 3, they will not destroy this card. They will place this one here. They will play this one here. They'll place the 14 as a new additional tower on the side. And these 2 cards that are here will go on the discard pile. To start the next round, we'll take another 5 cards. We'll put those 5 cards here again. And now the player to the left of the player who just got the cards, who won the previous bid, that person can go first in bidding for the next round, for these 5 cards. Of course, if a player says they will take all 5 cards right away, then we don't have to continue the bidding process because there's nothing higher than a 5. It may also be that nobody wants any cards. In this case, we'll just discard all 5 cards and we'll take new 5 cards, and the person who bid first in the round before will bid again. And so we bid until we run out of this deck. Once we've run out of this deck, then we will shuffle all the discarded cards. We'll build a new deck with those cards, and we play through that second deck again. And once the second deck that we just shuffled from the discard cards, once that is also done, at that point, we'll score everybody's towers. And here's some hints for the first game. As you might have noticed when I showed you the game objective at the very beginning, tall towers are amazing, but if you cannot finish them, they're not worth that much. If you get a tower of 4 and you can cap it with a roof with a 0, then you get more points than building a long tower of 7 cards. So you might really want to think about these zeros. You might want to try to get these zeros and take them away from other players, because if other players don't get the zeros, then they can also not finish their towers. Now there are 2 zeros per color in the game if you play the 4 to 5 player game. If you play the 2 and 3 player game, there's only 1 card of each number. For the 4 and 5 player game, you'll also find a distribution in the instructions. There are some other cards that show up more than once if you play the 4 to 5 player game. But in the 3 player game, once a 0 for a color is gone, that 0 is gone. So plan ahead with the 0, and when you build your towers, don't play too conservatively. You will think in the beginning that it's only good to take 15s, 14s, and 13s, You don't have to go and wait for those. You can really start with a 7 and a 6. And you need to know that once we've gone through a deck once, going through a second deck takes no time at all. You might not be able to get many moves in anymore once we've gone through the deck once. So even in the very beginning, don't play conservatively, even if that means that you have to go to 3s and 2s already very early on. That is okay. You can still build on top of that. Also make sure that you use the 8 and the 9s properly, so that you can build even taller, even though you've already gotten to really low numbers early on. And when it comes to destroying cards, you need to know that it's unlikely that you won't have to destroy a single card. I would say between 1 and 3 cards that you destroy, that's all still fine. If you go above 3 cards, then you already have minus 10 points, and that's a lot of negative points that you have right there. So I would try to stay within 1 to 3 cards that you destroy, but you can plan with these even. You can take a card, a very low card early, thinking that you will destroy it, but you can't have a card that you want to destroy on 2 or 3 different towers, because in every single turn, you can only destroy 1 card. And that's it. That's 5 towers. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please subscribe below. And I'm looking forward to seeing you back here on the channel.